What's happening? Listen, before I really get started in this, I'm gonna give y'all some time to come in because I got something I want to show y'all. And I figured this Kevin Samuels thing out. I get it now. But let me play this song while I get everything loaded up. Hold on one second. Yeah, okay, so picture this, guys. I want to show y'all this. I've got it, I figured it out finally. Okay. I finally figured this thing out. And I see, every time I watch a Kevin Samuels video, people tell me, but he made some good points. And I was very, very lost about where are the good points that they hearing people that they saying that he making. I'm cool today, I'm calm. I got my fresh out of Fox mug. You know what I'm saying? So this might get out of hand because it's not coffee in this mug. So this could get out of hand, but I'm going to try to keep it civil. But I was wondering, I'm like, yo, what the fuck are these good points that the man is making? Because maybe I'm missing it. You know how that go. You have to, whatever, what have you. So I'm like, okay, what are these great ass points that I'm not understanding that seem to be, fucking up the community in such a way, right? So what I decided I wanted to do was take a larger sample, because people normally give me, how it is when they make it to you, it'd be fucked up. So I was like, I'm gonna take a larger sample and then we're gonna look at it, from a larger sample. This video is I feel like it's the blueprint. So I want to watch this video right here. I want to go through this video a section at a time and discuss what's going on, so that we can have a good overall view of the chicanery. All right, okay, so here it is. Y'all watch this with me. Okay, here it is.
You live in peace with a man. Can you submit to a man? Can you play the background?
When you say play the background, what do you mean play the background?
Play your natural role.
My natural role in being a wife?
Yes, the background.
I don't think a natural role as a wife is in the background.
Boom. All right, let's just start right there. Now, again, this is coming from an ideology that says that to be a wife is natural. To be a husband or to be a wife is somehow natural. First off, where? Right? Okay. But it's important to understand these assumptions. See, this is why I don't watch movies and shit. Because there's a lot of assumptions that people be wanting me to make that I just don't make. Like, there is no point in nature that says that a woman should be married. There is literally you cannot point to the law of nature that says you should be married. This is not natural, but perhaps we're not using the term nature in that sense, like the trees grow outside kind of nature. Maybe what we're saying is this is the intrinsic way of the society that we consider natural. Like it is natural for me to eat steak with a knife. Right? Okay, so maybe we're using that as the term for nature, but it's still not natural to be married. Okay, all right. But this is the assumption that we're going by, so we have to kind of work that through. So I want y'all to watch the game that gets played here. Watch this. And this is both of these people are playing this game, but watch, let's play it again.
You live in peace with a man. Can you submit to a man? Can you play the background?
When you say play the background, what do you mean play the background?
All right. So notice okay. In debating, there is a very famous Christian apologetic debater whose last name is Gish. I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Gish. And he has a debate tactic that people really coined the Gish Gallop, right? Right. Yeah. It's more of a social norm, Mark. Yeah. Okay. So he has this thing called a Gish Gallop. And basically what a Gish Gallop is you put a whole bunch of shit together. You say it in one big, a whole bunch of points. You just kind of put them all together and you put them out there. And then your opponent doesn't have the time to pick through everything that you said. And a lot of it is a lot of social norm shit that people just kind of assume, but your opponent doesn't have enough time to go through and pick it all apart and say, wait, this isn't true. You have no assert. You just asserted this. Like, right. Okay. So this is why I want to take this video a line at a time and show you how we get played into this. And this, I'm not even blaming Kevin for this. I'm really talking about the social norm and how the social norm can get manipulated to manipulate people. Okay. So what he said was, can you live at peace with a man? Can you submit to a man? I don't want to misquote him. Hold on. Y'all watch this with me. I'm sorry about this. I think this is going to be helpful though.
You live in peace with a man. Can you submit to a man? Can you play the background?
Okay. Can you live in peace with a man? Can you submit to a man? Right? Can you play the background? Okay. All right. Now, again, we talked about submission earlier. Submission is one of those terms that I dare one of y'all to define for me. I've been asking this for I know a year. I've been asking this motherfucking question for one good solid year. Okay. Living at peace is one thing. Right. But two, let's just start at, can you submit? Define it. I don't know if I can do that. Define it for me. What does that mean? Right, Terry, we're going to get to this war in just a second. It's not that women are at war with men. We are at war with each other. Okay. So can you submit to a man? What does that mean? And I keep asking people what it means, because how the fuck can we agree or disagree to something that we will not define? I don't, right? To relinquish control. Okay, all right. Matthew, thank you, Izzy. Thank you. Izzy, in what regard? Relinquish control in what regard? Let's dig into that. I like the fact that you at least answered it. Relinquish control in what regard? Right. Right, like what control exactly are we relinquishing? Control of what? Thoughts, actions, emotions, breath, freedom. What are we? What's up, Amber? What becomes full of trust? Yeah, but what decisions, Lauren? What decisions are you trusting them with? And I like this. I like this, but I really want a really good definition for it, right? And I'm not mad with that as yeah, but let's define it a little bit. Yeah, some sort. Lauren, so you can't. What household decisions? Like, could you decide to turn on a light? Could you decide to turn off a light? Could you decide to run some water? Could you decide to not run some water? Could you decide? What are the decisions? Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it, because most folk won't even try. And so I want to take this a second at a time so I can show y'all why this is so fuckery. Well, but before we get into whether we have to submit or not, let's figure out what the fuck it is. We can't agree or disagree till we know the definition. So Lauren said, and I appreciate Lauren I appreciate Lauren for giving an answer. She said, to trust them to make some decisions for the household. Well, to make the decisions that are in her best interest for the household. What are the decisions? Name a decision. Where you live. Okay. All right. Where you live, the direction you're going as a group or a team, maybe. Okay. Give me. Okay. So your address, you would trust this person to make the decision for your actual physical address. Is that what we're going with? I'll take that. Okay, and then as far as where we're going as a team, give me a little more detail on that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just keep going. Brittany, so could you decide to buy a hamburger? Could you decide to buy a shirt, some socks? Could you decide to buy gas? I need a very detailed, I'm not asking for a paint over. I need to know the details because these are all nebulous. These don't necessarily mean anything. Right. So are we saying large purchases? Are we saying purchases that go over a certain dollar amount? Are we saying every single dollar that moves in and out of the house, that man has to approve? Right. Okay. There's a reason I'm asking this. Right. Are we saying any purchase that goes over $500, I should consult with my partner? Are we saying any purchase over $100, I should right? Or is it any purchase over $10? Any purchase over 10 cents? Like, okay, is it just when we deal in houses? Is it just when we deal in things that we have to have a new note for? Mike, before we start bashing modern women, okay, there is a reason that I'm asking this. Before y'all jump way down the road, stay with me. Or won't you stay with me? Come on, choir in the background. Right? Okay. All right. So help me define it. Don't just give me a bunch of more nebulous terms. Let's dig into it and figure out exactly what we're talking about. Okay. All right. Yeah. Before we go down there, Mike, I just want to make sure that we understand what are the terms that we're dealing with. Okay. All right. So expenses of the home to be handled. Wait, Lauren. What expense, baby? This is a bunch of other stuff. One at a time. Okay. What expense? Are we talking just the bills? Are you saying that you couldn't buy yourself a t-shirt? Are you saying that you don't buy lunch without his permission? What expenses? All of those could be counted as expenses. Which expenses are you relinquishing control to? Right. And I will go through this whole list, but I got to narrow it down so I understand it. Well, yes, Matthew, they do have to be determined between those two people, but we seem to be talking about submission in one big, large ass group. Right. So while I will agree that, yes, we do have that's totally up to one or two people. Very true. But I'm asking in the overall, since we're throwing out the word submission in the overall. For whatever reason, my camera went stupid. Wait, hold on, bro. This ain't right. Hold on, bro. This ain't the right camera. Hold on, bro. Hold on. What's going on here? It's supposed to be here. All right, and then my audio. That's crazy. One. Yeah, that's supposed to be there. Sorry about that, guys. My camera just went stupid on me. All right, so. Okay, so let's try to what with it, Jonathan? Let's try to narrow this down. Okay. All right. Let's narrow this down. In the term submission, we're now talking about relinquishing control. Do we agree to that part? Right. Let's take this a piece at a time. Do we agree that submission means, because in order for us to understand a thing, we got to know the words that we're using. Are we agreeing that submission is a relinquishing of control? Does anybody disagree with that? Anybody disagree with that? I feel like that's a fair way to look at that word. But before we accept that, let me see if there are any objections. All right. Yeah, but even in the classic religious standpoint, Izzy, it's not defined. It's not defined. It's just a word. It just has a new connotation religiously. What the fuck is that? That don't help nothing. Izzy, you know this, and you help me understand this. Religion never answers anything. Religion isn't the answer to anything. It's just the context in which you put other ideas. It doesn't answer anything. Okay, but so far we got that relinquishing control. Okay, all right. We're using certain instances where we relinquish control. Let me go through them. Lauren gave us a list. I want to go pull that list back up. Expenses of the home. Let's just look specifically at expenses of the home. Okay, before we move on, let's just get to specifically the expenses of the home. Okay, what do we mean by relinquishing control to the expenses of the home? What does that mean? That's fine, Lauren. I think it's a good list, by the way, Lauren. I'm not knocking the list. As a matter of fact, I appreciate the list because at least it gives me something that I can look into, that we can really try to understand. All this other stuff that folk were saying, it was just words, just a bunch of, they don't necessarily mean anything. So I'm glad that you gave me a tangible thing that we can look into and try to make decent hypotheses out of. Okay, so what does it mean to relinquish control of the expenses of the home? In this one category, what does that look like? How does that work? Somebody help me out with that. Katura, before we get down to that part, I get what you're saying, but before we go there, before we take any tangents, because that is a part of the problem with these kinds of conversations. It's hard to stay on topic because folk want to get to the end. But hold on, let's walk through it one piece at a time so we understand it at least. Then when we come to a conclusion, it's a logical conclusion. So what does it mean to relinquish control of the expenses of the home? What does that look like? How does that work? Is there a price point? Even in your mind, I'm not saying for sure, but in your mind, do you say, okay, well, anything that costs more than $10, I feel like she should talk to a man about? Or anything that costs more than a certain percentage of the house, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. So, Amber, are we saying that there is no expense in the home that she should be able to make, or any woman or any man here? Anybody can answer this. Are we saying that there is no expense in the home that she should be able to make a decision on? It's even down to lunch money. Right. Okay. So, okay. Kenneth, are you okay? So you're saying she can't even make a decision about lunch money, Kenneth? That's what you're saying? No. Izzy, take your time, bro. I know I talk fast. It could be looked at a lot of ways. It could be he holds all the money. It could be he makes the decisions on the budget. It could mean he pays all the bills. Depends on every go. Brittany, exactly. Okay. In your mind, how do you take it? Let me ask you. Mark, what percentage of the household expenses do you think she should relinquish control over? I like the fact that you narrowed that down. Okay. By the way, would anybody like to? You're welcome, Izzy. If you like, I can send you the link. You can actually come talk to me. Anybody can come talk to me if they want to, because I got a bunch of these questions. Tiffany, before we get into the defense, I don't want to get to the defense just yet, but that's a very, very good question. But I don't want to get into the defense just yet. I want to just understand the term, right? I just want to understand the term, okay? Before we get it, whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, moral or immoral, Christian or not, I just want to understand what exactly we're saying, okay? So, in y'all's mind, what financial decisions can she not make? Is there a threshold? Like if she's out and she wants to get a hamburger, does she need to call her man and say, "Babe, I'm thinking about getting a hamburger"? Is that what y'all saying? Is that what y'all saying? Is there a certain amount of money that you believe a woman should be able to spend without your permission? Or if you are a woman, is there a certain amount of? Okay, all right, let me get this. Hold on. All right. Here. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm gonna do this. And goodness gracious. Yeah, is there any amount of money that y'all think she should be able to spend without permission? Right. And again, I'm only doing this because I want to understand the term. Okay, Tyrell, but in order to define a thing, sir, I have to know what you mean. Like, a person can't say, I will submit, if they don't know what the word means. Okay, so Kayla says petty cash is one thing, thousands of dollars is another. I can spend $200 at the grocery store, but I can't spend $1,000 on my deck without consulting him. Okay, all right. I like that. Is there a certain amount that you have decided? If it's more than $200, then we'll talk about it. Right? Miss Ellis, I'm trying to understand the word, baby. So don't nobody beat me up. I'm literally just, you answered it. I'm sorry, Mark. I might have missed it. I was moving stuff around. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Okay. Per his show, okay, let me listen. Per his show, most women only want to pay 20% of the household expenses for a lifetime. He specifically asked this question every show. Okay, all right. So anything more than 20% of the household, bro, I don't know why she need permission to money. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. Y'all stay with me, please. I am only trying to define how you guys look at the word submission. I have only made it to the point of relinquishing control of finances. That's all. And now I'm trying to understand what that means. Everybody, this is my brother Izzy. Izzy, how you feeling, bro?
What's up, brother? How you doing, brother?
Man, I cannot complain. Everything good with you?
Hey, man, I'm alive, so I can't complain about nothing.
Man, better to be seen than it is to be viewed, my nigga.
You heard me?
Absolutely. So, bro, I want to ask this specific question because you gave me the relinquishing control, and I hope I'm not trying to be combative. Izzy, let me calm my voice down. I'm literally just trying to get an understanding. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, when you say relinquishing control in the financial realm, is there a certain dollar amount that you think is a good point to relinquish control, or a certain percentage of the household income that you believe is good for relinquishing? Or
I mean, the thing is you know, I come from the religious background, right? And
yeah,
you do too. So the thing is when my daddy taught me, when I was a Christian, right? It was, your job is to lead, to make the final decisions in the house. But he made sure he let me know that you have to listen to the input, right? You know what I mean? So so when he would use this idea of submission in the church, and this classical idea of submission in the church, it was more of okay, she has an idea, you have the reins, we're going where, ultimately where I'm telling us we're going to end up going, right? I'm gonna go here, but I'm going to take everybody's, ideas into account.
And try to make the best decision of the overall.
Right. And that's what leading would be to me.
Okay, now that's leadership, but I'm asking about specifically in the financial realm. Is there any amount of money that she should be able to spend without having to consult you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have it doesn't have to be exact, but give me some examples of things that she could buy without having to talk to you about.
I mean, technically for me, you can buy whatever you want. Just tell me before you spend it so I know how much you're spending.
Right.
So that's my attitude, right?
Right.
But I'm playing devil's advocate. So I would probably say, I don't know, somewhere around $500 to $1,000 or something like that. Anything past that amount, maybe you would call and maybe make sure it was all good. Something like that.
Okay. All right. And in that, okay, if I'm understanding it correctly, you're saying, okay, let's say it's $500 and she want to go buy, I don't know, the kid something, whatever it is. She want to spend $500 on it. That's a part of what we could in business we just call that petty cash. You kind of ready to kind of spend that money at any given time.
Right.
But, we don't really have to discuss that as long as it don't get out of hand.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. But if it's a larger decision, if it's something, let's say it's over $1,000, then you say, okay, she should consult me, and we should have a discussion about whatever. I'm gonna get to that just a second, Miss Ellis. It's so hard to have these conversations because it'd be good points that people bring up, but in order to I feel like we need to nail a few things down first before we get into the what ifs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, if it's more than $1,000, let's talk about it, and then trust me to make a good decision about it.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. That actually was helpful as hell. But you see how? Do you know why I wanted to nail that down? Do you get why I wanted to nail that down?
Yeah, because that idea of submitting control is such a broad statement. The definition itself is very broad, so that can mean anything. So you have to kind of set up some sort of boundaries so everybody understands where we're all coming from.
Where we're coming from. Well, another statement was talking about how you discipline children. The exact same question. Are you saying that she has no right to discipline children? Are you saying that up until a certain point she should be the disciplinarian? Are you saying that all discipline decisions should be made by the father? Where is the line here?
Right. Okay. So in a lot of cases, again, I'm playing my best devil's advocate, so please don't judge me too hard.
No judgment.
Okay? So the thing is I think that punishments, immediate punishments, is definitely okay. Especially when we're dealing with kids. I think that a father's input and a father taking care of certain things such as discipline is kind of one of those things. So I think immediate discipline, but ultimate discipline might be something that you would consider. Maybe ultimate discipline being the dad, immediate discipline meaning, I don't know, quit spanking, telling, I'm gonna, I don't know,
go to your room type stuff.
Right. Sit there until your daddy get home. He gonna take care of this type shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's the best I could probably think of for that.
All right. So when we talking ultimate discipline, because I like the fact that you broke that down into two categories. What is ultimate discipline to you? Like, what does that mean to you?
So the mother is right there. Right. Okay. So we're assuming, right?
This is an assumption, yes.
Right. We're under the assumption that the mother is there. The father is probably out working. Okay. And so she knows exactly what he did at that point. So she can tell him, go back to the house. Then what she can do is she can ultimately go back to the father, tell the father, hey, this is what happened. And then he'll set what's going to come next.
What the parameters are.
Right. What are the parameters? Does he deserve to be, whooped or grounded?
Okay.
Things of that nature. Right.
Okay.
And so that would probably be the ultimate,
So in disciplinarian, so he's more like the judge and she's more like the prosecutor, and he's more like the judge in that situation.
Right.
Okay. See how helpful that is. Now I understand that. That's understandable. Right. And if you present that to a person, they can then say, hey, I agree to that, or I do not agree to that.
Right.
But if I just put the word submission out there,
it puts a whole different connotation out there.
Right. That's broad as hell, right? Because especially when you talk about finances, because any money that gets spent is a finance.
Right.
Shit, going to the gas station is a finance. Right. And if you saying she doesn't have the right to to buy her own gas.
Right. That's a bit extreme.
Right. But it could mean that in somebody's case. But if she agreed to that, then fine. Am I making sense? Like she could totally say, I don't want to have to decide on if I got enough money to buy gas. I want my husband to do all of that.
Right.
Cool. Right. Okay, all right. Thank you, Izzy. I appreciate you for sharing that with me, man. I'm gonna leave that link in there, but I want to move on a bit in this video. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Absolutely. Stay up, brother.
My brother. So yeah, that was easy, man. Okay, so now we kind of, can y'all agree? Did y'all agree with the definition? Because that seems sensible to me. But let me ask, did that seem sensible to you guys under the ideology of submission? Speaking to Tyrell though, because he said this earlier, it's not that I'm trying to overcomplicate it. I'm really trying to simplify it. But in order to simplify it, I need to understand the term. If it's complicated, if I just put out a broad word like submission. Submission is so broad, it can be taken in so many different ways. It gets quite complex. Life is not intuitive. I say this all the time. Life is not intuitive. You need to know what you're getting into. Right. Like, Kenneth, you say no, and that's okay that you say no. Kenneth, if you would explain to me how you see it. Okay. You said it exactly. Okay. All right. So, okay, you agree. Okay, cool. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it. I'm trying to simplify it so that we can have better terms to use, because a lot of this is equivocation. In other words, we're using words in two different ways, and people start arguing things that don't even necessarily need to be argued, right? So we only made it to the second term here, right? All right, okay, let me move on to term 3. I'm gonna start it over because I ain't but 3 seconds into it. I ain't gonna take this long on everything. I'm sorry.
You live in peace with a man. Can you submit to a man? Can you play the background?
Okay, the third piece was play the background, right? Okay, can you live at peace with a man? Now, living at peace just means to be agreeable, to try, at least this is how I'm seeing it, try to be agreeable, try not to create stress and strife, try to handle whatever difficulties may come along in a loving and caring manner, right? Right. Amber, you disagree with the explanation. That's fine. Do me a favor and tell me what part of the explanation you disagree with. Again, the link is in there if you guys want to join me. I put it in there. I'm going to put it in there one more time for you, just in case you want to join me. Anybody want to come on and talk to me about this? I think it's only fair to give you all the opportunity. If you don't feel like doing all that typing, that's the link. You can come on and join me. Yeah. Yes, of course. In the overall, it is. You do have to define these terms. That's what I'm with. Right. That's what I was about to move to next. What do we mean by play the background? Now I feel like he's going to give an explanation of playing the background. So let me play through that part. Let me play through the part where he kind of explains what he means by play the background. Okay.
You live in peace with a man. Can you submit to a man? Can you play the background?
When you say play the background, what do you mean play the background?
Play your natural role.
My natural role in being a wife?
Yes, the background.
I don't think a natural role as a wife is in the background.
Show me where in the world a natural wife is in front.
She's not in front, but she's beside.
No, she's not.
Why she's not, Kevin?
Are you out of your French toast line?
Don't do that now, Kevin. I'm just giving you my opinion.
Okay. Well, when a burglar comes, are you standing side? When somebody's coming to break in the house, are you side by side beside your husband, or are you standing behind him because he's gonna have to take the bullet?
To be honest, I'm standing beside my husband.
Then you out of place.
Why am I out of place?
Okay. Now I don't know if y'all noticing these little words that's popping up on the screen, but did y'all notice the word? Let's watch it again. Did y'all notice the words that popped up on the screen? Let's just look at them. Hold on, right here.
My natural role in being a wife?
Yes, the background.
I don't think a natural role as a wife is in the background.
Show me where in the world a natural wife is in front.
She's not in front, but she's
okay. That's called a false dichotomy, right? So he basically only said you can either be in front or behind, right? That's a false dichotomy. She offered option 3, which was to be side by side, which was reasonable. But let's keep going.
beside.
No, she's not.
Why she's not, Kevin?
Are you out of your French toast line?
Don't do
Okay, to assert or to even question if she is sane at this point is completely an ad hominem attack that had nothing to do with the argument in and of itself. That's poisoning the well to say that she is not sane. But let's continue.
that now, Kevin. I'm just giving you my opinion.
Right.
Okay. Well, when a burglar comes, are you standing side? When somebody's coming to break in the house, are you side by side beside your husband, or are you standing behind him because he's gonna have to take the bullet?
To be
Right. This is technically a non sequitur, and the reason being is because playing the background is not the same as standing behind. This is a false equivocation. Are y'all following me here? This is a false equivocation. Playing the background is not the same as physically standing behind a human being. Y'all see what happened there? But watch. He's going to make a decent point. It is just non sequitur to the point that he's making. Watch what he did. Watch what he did. It's not that what he's saying here is wrong. It's just non sequitur to the point of the story. Watch this.
Be honest, I'm standing beside my husband.
Then you out of place.
Why am I out of place?
Oh my
Tell me
God.
how-
Did you see that? It says she's stupid for this.
My husband,
Then you out of place.
See that? This is ad hominem, right? Because at this point you have not given any reasoning to why she's wrong. You get what I'm saying? At this point, he haven't given any reasoning, and whoever edited this video put she's stupid for this on here, but for no reason. Okay, all right, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna show y'all what happens.
why am I out of place?
Oh my
Tell me
God.
how. Am I too masculine for it?
Oh my God. Hell yeah. Your place. Oh my God. Hold on. Why are you out of place? I'm telling you why you're out of place.
Tell me how.
Your place is behind your husband, guarding the children.
Okay, a couple of searches being made here, right? A couple of searches being made. You don't know if they have any children. Now she's going to go on later to say that she has children, but he doesn't know this at this point in the conversation. Okay, but again, none of this has anything to do with the extreme circumstance of a live burglary going on in the house. Am I making sense? None of this has anything to do with the extreme circumstances if a burglar comes in the house. Right? If you married to a Navy SEAL and fellas, if you married to a Navy SEAL and you are a fucking baker for a living, please let the Navy SEAL whoop ass in this point, because you gonna get shot and then she gonna have to whoop his ass. Now you just dead for free 99. Now you done got robbed and beat up, and she done killed a man, and now two people dead at the house. When you could have just let her do what she's good at and go ahead and take the burglar out. You feel what I'm saying? So, but that, again, this is a hypothetical where in which we are assuming. Okay, and I'm not saying that if the man is better prepared for this instant, that he shouldn't do that. Let me make sure that but he's trying to establish this to put the idea that she should play the background. These are not the same things. These are not, now we're going to deal with that, what she's good at in just a second. Right? But these are not the same things. This is literally a non sequitur point. This is not what is next in sequence. This is a false equivocation. This does not go together. Okay. All right, but we're gonna continue. And I'm gonna show you, but it's not that the idea of what he's saying here is wrong. He's just bad at building the argument. Right? And instead of and this is a gish gallop, he's just throwing a bunch of stuff at you. You're bad at building the argument. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Oh, I'm really on here. Okay.
So when your mother, how about your grandmother?
Okay.
Hold on, Hannah. Your grandmother, was she married?
That's another thing, Mr. Kevin.
Hold on, Hannah. Let me come right back to you. Hannah. Was your grandmother married?
Yes, my grandmother was, but that's the thing. But I'm trying to explain to you, we in two different generations right now. The generation that you're trying to explain to us, my generation is not living like that no more.
Yeah, and that's why you're dying by yourself.
But who says there isn't a man that's willing to take me for him to me for me?
1 in 4 of you will marry.
Okay, let's deal with this. All of this is contingent upon the first idea that he gave, which was that a woman has a natural place as a wife, and a wife has a natural place of being behind. Do you see that? When I say that, does that make sense to you? When I said that, do you get what I'm saying? All of this is contingent upon the assumption that a woman has a natural place as a wife, and that a wife has a natural role of playing the background. Does that make sense when I say that? Okay, you see that? Does anybody else see what I'm saying here? This is all contingent upon that assumption. Amber, again, when we talk about the word nature, I think what we're going with is normal, or societally normal, or societally prevalent is probably what I should say. What you see most often in society. Okay, all right. So when we're not using nature as in like what the trees do, or what the animals do, or what the stars do. Because at that point, then, and I don't want to get into a false equivocation myself, so I don't want to try to say, oh well, animals don't get married and that's natural. That can't be the nature he's talking about. I believe the nature that he's talking about. Is what he really means by that is what is prevalent in society, or what has been the prevalent ideal of society. Okay, that's where we are with that. Okay, and so basically what he's saying is that the prevalent ideal in society for a woman is that she should be a wife, and the prevalent ideal for her as a wife is that she should play the background. Am I making sense when I say that? Okay. So now we're gonna jump back in time, right? We're talking to a woman who is 30 in the year 2021. Okay, she's gonna tell you how old she is in a second. She's a 30-year-old woman in the year 2021. Okay. He is going to equate this 30-year-old woman who in the year 2021 to 2 generations ago. And she mentions this. Okay. She mentions this. So let's follow through.
I mean, look, man.
Go back.
2 different generations right now. The generation that you're trying to explain to us, my generation is not living like that no more.
Yeah, and that's why you're dying by yourself.
But who says there isn't a man that's willing to take me for him to me for me?
1 in 4 of you will marry.
Okay. Now notice how he uses the statistics. That's why you're dying by yourself. Listen to, okay. Think about what we're saying here, that the normal thing for a woman to do is to marry a man, and that it is also normal for her to play the background to a man, right? So this is a 2-party agreement. But then he says that's why you are dying by yourself, as if the man is not dying by himself. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all see? And that's a quick sleight of hand. That's a quick sleight of hand, but a sleight of hand nonetheless. Did you see that? Right. If she's dying by herself, then he is also dying alone. He said 1 in 4 of you will be married. Well, I mean, we about 50-50 in this culture. So that means 1 in 4 of us will be married. Am I making sense? I'm glad y'all see it. Now we conflating issues. Okay, all right. So let's go.
I mean, look, man, the stats don't work for your argument. Prior to 1965, black people were married at a rate of 80%.
See what he did right there? Right. He said the stats don't work in your argument. And then he says prior to 1965, he was about to say black women. He said black people. See, did you see it? Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Watch it again.
Black people were married at a rate of 80.
That was it right there.
Willing to take me for him to me for me.
1 in 4 of you will marry. I mean, look, man, the stats don't work for your argument. Prior to 1965, black people were married at a rate of 80%. You see that?
You see what he did? Now he keeps trying to separate men from women and say this doesn't work for your argument. Keep in mind, he's pushing for marriage just like she's pushing for marriage. They might be pushing for two different versions of marriage, but they're pushing to be married, both of them. Both of them. Right? And he's saying, wait, this doesn't work for your argument. Y'all making the same argument. Yeah. Right? Okay. I'm gonna keep going.
Out to any cemetery, you'll see a black man buried next to a black woman.
Mhm.
But you go after 1990, and you'll start seeing black women buried around her children
Why is that?
because y'all are unruly, unsubmissive, and out of line.
Now wait. You see how he just gave that answer? Not that men tend to die faster than women. Not that he might have had a separate cemetery plot and they couldn't afford all the plot together. It's a lot of reasons that people would be buried separately. Not that they moved from one place to another. Not that they got a divorce or any of that. It has to be because black women are. This is just a bad argument. I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. He could be correct, and this is still a bad argument. How did you determine that black women were unruly? This is a bad argument. Right? Okay. There's a lot of reasons you won't see folk buried beside each other. A lot of reasons. But in order to, it's the worst argument. It's a bad, this is just a bad way to put together an argument. Okay. This is a straw man. Well, this ain't quite a straw man. This is not necessarily a straw man fallacy. This is just it's non sequitur. In other words, what your answer is not the logical conclusion to your premise. Right? You made a premise and then just hop to an answer that this doesn't follow. Right. But this isn't necessarily a straw man argument. This is what you call a non sequitur argument. Still a logical fallacy, though. There are lots of logical fallacies. Okay. Now, if you can build the bridge between people are being buried in separate plots to black women are unruly, that's different. But you can't go assert that without a reason. Right? Okay. You just can't go make that assertion. You can't do that. And I don't care if a woman was saying this. It doesn't matter. It's a bad argument. Okay. Let's keep going.
Well, let me ask
Go to a restaurant on Friday or Saturday night, and you'll see a mama. You may see her with her mother and a bunch of kids. There will be no husband.
well, how many women at that point in time had degrees and education? Everybody
What the fuck does your degree mean?
Why doesn't it mean anything?
What is your degree in?
But why doesn't it mean
What is it?
Okay. Here's what happens, and this happens all the time. Y'all try to do me like this on this live. Okay. She said, well, how many women at that time had degrees? Well, you're making a counterpoint, which is okay, but you need to establish what the degree means. He literally asked, what does your degree mean? And watch how he changes the subject before actually getting an answer to what does your degree mean. Watch this. Watch this. She said, well, how many women had degrees? Now, I could assume what she's trying to say, but that's not how argument works. Okay? In an argument, you have to be able to lay out your point. Right? So he asked, what does your degree mean? And before she could answer that question, he asked, What is your degree in? Okay? Watch how this happens.
Everybody.
What the frick does your degree mean?
Why doesn't it mean anything?
What is your degree in?
But
See?
why doesn't it mean
What
anything?
is it? What's the degree in?
That's not the question.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Notice that this person is saying she don't have a degree, which is completely irrelevant, but she doesn't even need a degree in order to make this point. She does not have to have a degree to make this point. She never got to make the point because he moved from what does your degree mean to what is your degree in. She said women, he said yours. Not this. Okay, let me keep going.
No, I'll tell you, no, because almost 90% of the degrees women get are in humanities.
That's not the question, though. Mr.
Yes, it is.
That's not the question.
That's not it.
You don't seem to understand. A fucking communications degree is pointless.
How is it?
Now we just putting down people's degrees. How can anybody explain to me how this is relevant to the initial point of can she live peaceably with a man? Can it y'all see where we are right now in the conversation? Do y'all see where we are in the conversation? How we've only been listening to this conversation, by the way, for 2 minutes and 19 seconds. We're only 2 minutes and 19 seconds into this point. Right? Okay. It doesn't matter. She doesn't have to have a degree at all. First and foremost, how we even got, okay. The degrees are irrelevant. They're irrelevant. But that's neither here nor there. We're here now. Okay? But her degree is irrelevant. He then comes back and says, a communications degree, this is a straw man argument, by the way. A communications degree is pointless. Well, you don't know if she has a communications degree, right? Because then you'll hop back and say, oh, most women, 90% of degrees that women have. Do you see the shuffle? Do you see the shuffle? Watch it again. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch the shuffle.
Why doesn't it mean anything?
What is your degree in?
But why doesn't it mean
What is
What's your degree in?
That's not the question.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No, I'll tell you, no, because almost 90% of the degrees women get are in
Women,
humanities.
humanities
That's not the
degree.
question, though. Mr.
Yes, it is.
That's not it.
You don't seem to understand. A fucking communications degree is pointless.
Went from women
How
to
is it
one
pointless?
particular
My
woman.
education and my degree is incomplete.
Okay, if you want to play the game with me, I'll play it with you. You want to bring up degrees, you're going to have to be specific. What percentage of women get degrees that are in science, engineering, technology, or math?
Okay. Do y'all see this? Because this is about to take a whole different turn. This whole conversation about to take a whole different turn. But do you see how he went from what is your degree in to what 90% of women do to one specific degree? Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Okay. This is bad argumentation. This is a red herring. Like you just throwing something out there, another logical fallacy, right? Bro, you just throwing stuff out there at this point. This has nothing to do. Okay, all right. But I'm gonna keep going. You right, Terrell. Well, now again, not that what he's saying is not true. I'm not saying, I never said he lied. Didn't say he told a lie. I don't know the statistics of degrees, but let me just assume that is true. All right, keep going.
Structure.
I don't think that matters.
That's your problem. You don't understand what's important.
What's important then, Mr.
Who
Samuels?
is that?
What's important, Mr. Samuels?
That y'all are completely out of line. But you don't even understand how the world works. You're running on override. Men build the world that you live in.
Oh, okay.
Who built that house or apartment?
Okay, did you see what just happened right there? Did you see that what just happened right there? Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? I'm gonna make sure that we just saw that. We went from degrees to men built the world that you live in. And did y'all see that? Did y'all see how that happened? Let's listen to it in flow so we can hear it. I keep having to rewind, but I want y'all to hear it in flow.
I'll tell you, no, because almost 90% of the degrees women get are in humanities.
That's not the question, though, Mr.
Yes, it is.
That's not it.
You don't seem to
That wasn't the
understand. A fucking communications degree is pointless.
Talk about
How is it
communication
pointless?
degrees.
And who says my education and my degree is
Okay, if you want to play the game with me, I'll play it with you. You want to bring up degrees, you're going to have to be specific. What percentage of women get degrees that are in science, engineering, technology, or math? Infrastructure.
I don't think that matters.
That's your problem. You don't understand what's important.
What's important then, Mr. Sims?
Who is-
By the way, he doesn't have a STEM degree. He works in marketing. He doesn't have a STEM degree. His degree is in marketing. Okay, let me keep going.
What's that?
What's the point, Mr. Samuels?
That y'all are completely out of line. That you don't even understand how the world works. You're running on override. Men build the world that you live in.
Oh, okay.
So now it's all men built the world that she live in. But keep in mind, he doesn't have a STEM degree, right? But he's trying to say that she doesn't have a STEM degree. Okay.
Who built that house or apartment you live in? Was it a crew of women? Who designed the metal work? Who put in the floor?
Now
plumbing, the electrical system.
He's taking credit for
He-
all the things that
Who put that
men
in?
did.
The car you drive, was that built by a crew of women?
Okay,
So
okay, I'm
women
with
are
him.
not capable of doing
Let's
none
say
of
he's
those.
right.
None.
You're not good at it. And we're given a choice. Excuse me, because we're given a choice, because women are free today, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're educated, right?
Uh-huh.
Then why don't we see 51% of construction workers as women? Why don't we see 51% of the engineers as women? Why don't we see 51%
This is
of the
non-sequitur. I'm
plumbers,
just gonna let this
electricians,
ride.
military, train operators, heavy, dangerous work as women? Because we're given an opportunity, women segregate themselves into more comfortable positions. Men do the dangerous work to build society.
Okay.
That's your place.
That's my place. I should follow my husband. I should follow the man. That's his place. We're not equal. He's stronger than me.
He is. He is. No, he is. He is. Go look at Bear Grylls Island season 2. And they dropped a bunch of men and a bunch of women on a deserted island
Anecdote.
and gave them some basic tools. And they had to survive
Anecdote.
for 6 weeks. By the end of day 1, the women had gotten lost and
Let me show you how bad of an anecdote this is. My man said, go look at this TV show, season 2. They dropped some men and they dropped some women on the island. And the men fared better than the women. Okay. Take them same men and a group of women from, let's just say, the Amazon. Put them on a deserted island. Take the same group of men that they found in the city, put them on an island with some women from the Amazon who live out off the ground anyway. You think those men would still fare better than those women? So it's not just that men fare better than women. It's not just that men fare better than women. We just keep boys outside more often. Okay. This is definitely a learning thing, not a natural thing. Because if I find some women who live off the land, they're gonna live off the land. It would be weird to take them and put them in a city and see how they survive. They wouldn't know what the fuck to do. Right? If I took some folk out to Amazon and dropped them off in New York City, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do. And if I took some folk from the city and dropped them off in the middle of the field, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're not really built for an apocalypse. Okay. Shit, I wouldn't know what to do if you dropped me off in the middle of the, I don't know what the fuck. Okay. Well, let's just keep going. Bad argument.
were fractured. By the end of day 1, men got from one side of the island and started building out a shelter. By the end of 6 weeks, the men had damn near made the internet. By the end of 6 weeks, women almost would have died 4 times.
I feel like growing up,
He said men damn near made the internet. No, they didn't. Shut up.
seeing my grandfather, seeing my daddy pay all the bills,
This
do
is not
everything in their
secular,
power
too.
to make sure the home is kept well, they still went out and did bullshit over their wives. Now,
Excuse me. Hold on. Let me
Now watch
stop you right
this.
here. First off, stay in your damn place as a child. That ain't your motherfucking business.
But I'm grown now.
But ain't your business. Excuse me. Stop. Breathe.
Because you know what?
Breathe.
That's trauma.
Breathe.
That's
Breathe.
trauma. No.
Breathe. No. I will shut this shit down. I will shut this shit down. I will shut this shit down and finish. That is not. It's not your place.
Because
You tell the worst part of everything. But where do you ever? I never hear you women give black men credit for anything. It's always talk about the Waiting to Exhale and the Color Purple bull.
Now, like he just gave. Do y'all see the bad arguments here? Skip how emotional he is. I want to talk about the argument itself. He just went through and said all the things that men did, right? And he wants to take credit for everything good that men did. Men damn near built the internet on a deserted island just 20 seconds ago. When she talks about the men that she's seen, he says, you always talking about the bad thing, but you. Okay. Let me just keep going. There's so much confirmation bias in this. I can't even. Let's just keep going.
that's the bullshit right there. Let me tell you something.
And she's
I
right,
go to therapy, and me and my parents, my grandparents, that shit they go through might not have been my business, but I inhaled it. I saw that.
That's your problem. Okay. And how old are you?
It can be my fault.
How old are you?
How was that her problem for being a kid in the house, seeing what adults were doing? How? Now, how she deal with it is her problem, but she's saying she's going to therapy. How you deal with that is your problem. But how is it her problem for being born into a house where she saw people be people? How is that her problem? You saw what you saw as a child. How was that your fault? All right. Okay. Okay.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay. Well, due respect, man. That the world doesn't owe you and me understanding. Because hold on. Because there are people in this world. I will shut this shit down. I won't. No. We don't do that. See, you talking about the traumas that your grandmother and mother, that ain't your business. Stay in the child.
He brought up her grandmother. He literally asked about her grandmother. You want me to go back and rewind it? Do y'all want me to? He brought up her grandmother. He brought that up. Now, when she started talking about it, he says she should stay in a child's fucking place. He brought that up. He asked, was your grandmother married? If you go back and look in 1965, you'll see. He brought that up. Are y'all getting what I'm saying? Are y'all getting what I'm saying? You brought up her upbringing. When she responds to her upbringing, then you go, oh, there you go, talk about your mama and your grandmama. You brought that up, sir. Here's my question. And you know what? I recognize that I'm a weirdo. So I'm gonna just take the fact that I'm a weirdo and hold it on my own chest. I'm gonna hold that. But y'all be really out here dating niggas that think like this, don't you? Y'all be really out here having discussions with folk that think this way, don't you? Tell the truth. Y'all be out here really talking to folk that think like this. I see why the internet is such a place of fuckery. I see why it's so fucked up out here. Because people don't know how to have a conversation. People don't know how to logically follow things. And she doing the best she can, but I can't blame her for this because I don't think she's had enough time to really make a point. But she kept saying that ain't the point. You got to make your point. Hey, no, I'm talking about this. I need to focus on this. Before we move all the way down to where my grandmama buried and why I'm unruly and what kind of degree I got. And all this other shit that ain't got nothing to do with the point. Then when I talk about what I saw as a kid, then you want to tell me to stay in a child's place, though you brought up what I saw as a kid. CJ, you're right. It's called a Gish Gallop. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Place.
I'm not a child anymore, Mr.
But
Sam.
that's the point. You're trying to. Okay. You don't have any? Do you have any children?
I do.
So your children need to come get in a relationship with you and your man, or should they stay in their mother flipping?
But he wasn't talking about being in a relationship. She talking about what she saw. What she saw.
Place. That's what I thought.
I don't want my kids to see me.
That's not what I asked.
The same thing I
That's
want.
not what I asked.
That's not what you asked, but that's the
That's not
point.
what I asked.
Can I talk? Can I say
But
something?
you didn't answer the question. Your children
Somebody said
need to
I'm-
stay. Your children need to stay in a children's place.
Somebody said I look 48. Okay.
Stop. Your children need to stay in a children's place, because between you and that man is something that they don't know, they don't understand because they're too young. They shouldn't be trying to judge it through childlike eyes.
They have
How old is your oldest?
They have no choice but to judge what they see, Kevin. Anybody who sees anything will judge what the fuck they see. What do you think kids do when they see shit? How do you think you decide what kind of adult to be if you don't judge the shit you see growing up? What a kid just turn their brain off? What are we talking about? What are you talking about, Kevin? How did we even get here? Especially after you made all those points about grandmothers and the mothers of the past and what you saw, then you tell somebody not to see what they saw.
$15.
How old is your youngest?
10.
10 years ago, your oldest still believed in Santa Claus. Children need to stay in children's place. And one of the problems we have in the black community is black women put their children in.
That was irrelevant. That was fucking irrelevant. What the fuck? A 5-year-old believes in Santa Claus. Equate that to what we're talking about, please. Somebody help him. Somebody who supports this man. Help me understand. Maybe I missed it. 10 years ago, your oldest was 5 years old and believed in Santa Claus. Okay. And your fucking point. I'm gonna wait. Maybe y'all heard something that I didn't hear. Okay, so maybe I'm not listening with my good ears. Thank you, Izzy. Let me calm down, because how is that relevant to anything? Somebody explain it to me. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Huh? I really want to know. Okay. Nobody want to defend that. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Own places where they should not be. They let their children see and experience stuff they should not experience, because then kids do what they naturally do. That's a problem of parenting. Your mama shouldn't have exposed you to it.
How is your mother supposed to? Notice what she said. She said her daddy did something to her mother. She saw her dad do something to her mother. His response to that is your mother shouldn't have exposed you to that. Listen to this again. Listen to what I'm saying. Let's go back. I want y'all to hear it for yourselves, because y'all gonna think I'm making this up. Let me go back. Somewhere around now.
I will shut this shit down. I won't. No. We don't do that. See,
That's the bullshit right there. Let me tell you something. I go to therapy, and me and my parents, and my grandparents, that shit they go through might not have been my business, but I inhaled it.
Wait. Oh, right here.
But ain't your business. And I almost would have died 4 times.
I feel like growing up, seeing my grandfather, seeing my daddy pay all the bills, do everything in their power to make sure the home is kept well, they still went out and did bullshit over their wives. Now,
Excuse me. Hold on. Let me stop you.
You see that? You see that? That was the statement I wanted to get to. That's what she saw. Did y'all hear that? That's what she saw. Did y'all hear that? Okay, they went out and did some bullshit. Okay, that's what she saw. Okay, I want to make sure that we okay with that. All right, now let me go back to where we was.
I'm not a child anymore necessarily.
But that's the point. You're trying to. Okay. You
My kids to see me.
That's not what I asked.
The same thing.
That's not what I asked.
But this is what I'm asking.
That's
you.
not what I asked.
Can I talk? Can I say something?
But you didn't answer the question. Your children need to stay. Your children need to stay in a children's place.
Watch
Somebody
this.
said
Watch
I
this.
was 48. Okay.
Stop. Where your
So
children
she
need to
said
stay in
what
a
she
children's
saw.
place, because between you and that man is something that they don't know, they don't understand because they're too young. They shouldn't be trying to judge it through childlike eyes.
That's stupid.
How old is your oldest?
15.
How old
This
is
is
your youngest?
irrelevant.
10.
10 years ago, your oldest still believed in Santa Claus.
Totally irrelevant.
Children need to stay in children's places. One of the problems we have in the Black community is Black women put their children in grown places where they should not be. They let their children see and experience stuff they should not experience because then kids do what they naturally do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem of parenting. Your mama shouldn't have exposed you to it.
How does that make any sense, y'all? How does that make any sense, y'all? Come on, man. Am I bugging here? How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? She said what she saw. She didn't say, my mother told me.
So okay, you're right. I can admit that.
And then she admitted it.
Every other group, Black people don't.
Oh, this is not even related.
Commit adultery and cheat at any exorbitantly higher rates than other people. We just use it as reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Gates and Melinda Gates just came out saying, Bill Gates, the most richest man in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did his wife come out saying? Oh, by the way, Bill been kicking with his ex-girlfriend all our marriage. Now, see, if there was Black folks, Tyler Perry would have made a movie about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we understand that this whole notion of.
So white people never make movies about people cheating on people. White people, y'all ain't never seen Eyes Wide Shut. Y'all ain't never seen Pretty Woman. Y'all ain't never seen these movies. White people don't make movies about that. Y'all ain't never seen no movie about a white man cheating on a white woman. Y'all ain't never seen that. It's my mama watched something on I can't remember what it's called. But we the only ones that do that, huh? Y'all ain't never seen this nowhere else. Okay. Y'all ain't never seen white people make no movie about this. I'm the only person who's seen these movies. Okay.
Man and woman, there's always an understanding between the man and the woman. And the man and the woman need to understand this, and the kids need to stay at the kids' place, eat at the kids' table, and not be involved in.
So white kids don't just go kill their parents. Because white people got their whole life figured the fuck out, don't they? This is just a Black problem, and specifically a Black woman problem. That's what we're saying here. This is specifically a Black woman problem. That's what we're saying here, Kevin. That this is a Black issue specifically because Black folk don't know how to rear their families, and specifically speaking, Black women don't know how to rear their families. That's what we're saying. That's the argument that you're making. It's a bad argument, Kevin. It's a bad argument.
Grown shit. Because I don't know men who just say I'm gonna wait till the kids come home and then I'm gonna whoop your ass in front of the kids. That ain't how men move. I know men who say I'm gonna wait till the kids home and I'm gonna come scream and holler at you. That's not how men do.
Mhm.
And at 30
That's
years
irrelevant,
old, man,
Kevin. That's
whatever
irrelevant.
happened to your mother and your grandmother, as traumatic as it is, due respect, man. You got to process that moving on, and it cannot be an excuse because your children.
Right, but he just used what happened to her mother and grandmother to
Would say the same thing.
My thing is, and this is just coming from my experience with dating, you are telling women to stay in their place, to be submissive, to be soft, to stand behind their husbands, but they don't reciprocate the same thing. We can do all that, and we still get shitted on.
That's bullshit.
Please tell me how is that bullshit?
It's bullshit because okay, hold on, no. What you focus on, you see. The black community, black men, when surveyed, asked about committed relationships, what percentage of black men cheat at? She did a 28% rate.
This is assuming that the black men in that survey told the truth. Do y'all see why I get so frustrated with this type of shit, man? And there's people who gonna listen to this shit and walk off without any thought and glean from it what they want. Right. And this ain't just Kevin Samuels. This is the same type of dumb shit that we do. We do this type of shit all the time. Human beings, not just black folk. We do this type of shit all the time. We take a point and then we just go look for everything that proves our point instead of being objective in the situation and just looking at the situation for what it is. Are there things that people do that are destructive? Hell yes. Is that all the men? No. Is that all the women? No. We have a communication problem. It's difficult for us to communicate because we don't speak on common terms. This is the same thing. This is black male apologetics. It's revisionist history. It's not true. We all do that, Matthew. We all do that. But it is wise for us to do our best, especially when we're trying to fix a problem, Matthew. Yeah. To fix a problem. Now if the goal is not to fix the problem, hear me out. If I just want to bash some folk, that's one thing. But if my goal is to fix a problem, then I have to be as objective about that problem as ever. You ever had and this is a bad analogy, but humor me in it. You ever had car trouble, man? You go outside and you smell something, or your battery ain't keeping a charge. So let's say your battery ain't keeping it. This happened to me one time. Battery wasn't keeping the charge. So I charged the battery up, drove it around for a while. Battery still wasn't keeping the charge. And I said, man, maybe the battery gone bad. Then I thought, I just bought this battery not too long ago. Kind of ruled it out. Maybe it's my alternator. Then tried to crank it up one time, wouldn't do it again. Got it jumped off again and went and found it. And one day I went out to crank the car up and the car smelled like eggs. And I'm like, man, is it leaking anything? Is it blah, blah, blah? Is it leaking? I don't smell why are we smelling like that? Is it, I look under the car and there's water under the car. The water don't have that scent. Maybe, okay, well, I don't know what that is. Anyway, I ended up taking the car to the shop, and it was the battery. It was my first initial idea. The battery had literally gone bad when the cells went bad. So it was leaking battery acid, and the battery acid had that scent like eggs, right? But because I had ruled out the idea that it was the battery because of when I had bought the battery, I'm riding around on a bad battery because of my preconceived notion. Am I making sense? If I'm trying to fix a problem, I got to look at the whole thing. I got to look at the whole thing. Right? I can't come in and say, well, it can't be the battery because the battery, I just bought the battery 2 months ago, and so the battery good. It could be the battery. Look at the evidence in front. Look at all of the evidence in front of you, and make the most logical decision. Let me keep watching this. I'm gonna watch this to the end. Look at her drinking the orange juice.
What rate do black women cheat at?
I don't know what's the number.
24. And there are 2 million more of us. Every time a black man is cheating with somebody, he's cheating with somebody. It's usually with a woman, married or in a relationship. How many black women have multiple children by multiple men? That's polygamy. That's a poly relationship. See, the way you tell the situation.
That's not a poly relationship.
A woman does the best thing and a man gives her ass kiss. A 50+% divorce rate in the country, and it's almost close to 60% of the black community. And 80 to 90% of the relationships, black women are leaving. You're leaving. You're home wrecking. You're breaking up the relationships. Men stay. Y'all leave.
Why do you think women are leaving?
Because you've been sold a Disney fantasy that you should be happy, instead of understanding that you have duty, honor, respect, and you chose to be in a relationship, especially when you decided to make a baby with somebody. You need to stay for more than just yourself. French toast your happiness.
So I should settle.
No, you should. Are you a Christian?
I'm not.
Well, have you been married?
No, I haven't.
You plan on getting married?
I would like to.
What vows do you plan on taking?
I don't want to settle for nothing less.
What vows do you plan on taking?
I plan on.
For better, for worse, sickness and health, the rich or poor, the death do its part. Then he said shit about happiness.
So I'm supposed to be miserable.
No, you're supposed to be an adult.
Okay.
Bro, hang up on that nigga, man. He trash.
I'm listening.
Hang up on that nigga, bro. He trash. Bro, hang up on that nigga, man. He trash. Bro, hang up on that nigga, man. He trash. That was irrelevant. That was, bro, that was out of nowhere. It was unnecessary. It's just the fact that it just came out of the background. Bro, hang up on that nigga, man. He trash. Bro, he is trash. Oh, he makes bad arguments, guys. Bro, hang up on that nigga, man. He trash. He makes bad arguments. I'm almost done with this, but let me get through. There's about like a minute left. We're just gonna listen to this.
That's him.
I mean, I'm trash. See, that's what I'm saying. This woman, this so-called woman, supposed woman, can say I'm trash. What if I said this wrong, Big Shirley? Bring the facts, the data, the statistics. Don't bring your trash ass attitude and take your bonnet off if you're gonna get on here.
Bitch, I don't want to hang on it.
Yeah, that's what. See, and that's what I mean. That's all you gotta do. That's comes out the bitches and everything else. That's why your fat ass gonna die by yourself. Kick rocks. You can't make this shit up. Inevitably triggered by understanding. I gotta settle. I gotta do this. Run, gentlemen. Run from these women. There is no negotiating with them. Leave. Nothing you do is going to be right. Always the worst case scenario. Why? Because single women keep women single. You could hear the cholesterol in her voice. Hang up on that nigga trash.
I got beans, creams, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkey, crap.
Hang up on that nigga. He's trash. Why didn't she try to do it? She couldn't even walk across to turn it off herself.
Hey man, I really would listen to this Toby Anigua, but because I love him. Let me get this off the screen. Guys, now I know y'all can pick through a lot of that and say, that was a good point. Okay. Oh, women are getting married less these days. That's true. I do go to restaurants and I do see women out with their kids. That's true. So he made some good points. But here's the question. Did he actually make a good point? No. Not one of those points in context. Not one of them. First and foremost, there was no real context. It was a bunch of ill-defined terms, a bunch of logical fallacies, a bunch of non sequitur points, a bunch of unsubstantiated assertions. It was a bunch of nothing. That he hung up on because somebody said he was trash. While he spent this whole time telling her why she was trash. He didn't use the term trash. But while he spent the whole time trying to tell her that nothing she did was right. The way she thought was right. The way she was raised. I mean, the way she thought was wrong. The way she was raised was wrong. The way she was processing the way she was raised was wrong. The way she thought about the people before her was wrong. The way she think about the people after her is wrong. The way she think about her mom and daddy wrong. The way she think about her kids wrong. The way she dressed wrong. Where she stand in the middle of a robbery is wrong. Am I making sense? Now, somebody gonna walk away from that and say, he made some good points. But where was the point? Yeah. Where was the point? I didn't see it. What exactly was the point? And the thing is, people don't require that, right? I need you to substantiate your claim. But let's say he was the expert. Like, let's say he was literally the world-renowned expert. Let's say he had a PhD, a super duper, not just a PhD. He invented relationships. Let's say he was God and everything he said was right. If you're trying to help, you need to substantiate those claims. You need to explain it better than that. You didn't make a single decent, logical argument. Not one. That was 10 minutes. And it took me an hour and a half to get through 10 minutes of shit that literally didn't go together. Nothing about that argument was based on itself. None of that followed. Now, what's crazy is I've been in arguments with women, and women argue with me the same way. So this is not just a Kevin Samuels thing. I didn't bring this up to just put Kevin down. This is a thing. This is a thing. What's crazy, Jewel, he might have a girlfriend. Niggas like this have women. This ain't about whether he got a girl or not. That's irrelevant. This is about a pattern of thought. He might be married. We don't. Derrick Jackson was married the whole time. This is a thought pattern deficiency. Right. And when we subject ourselves to bad thinkings, we are going to do bad things. You're gonna, when you got bad thoughts, they're going to lead to bad actions. Right. Bad thoughts make fucked up decisions. Yeah, that don't even matter. If he gay, if he's straight, none of that is relevant in this situation. It's the bad thinking. And in this kind of bad thinking, he's teaching this as if he is correct. And so people are looking to him like, oh yeah, he made a good point right there. What was the point? It was people on my timeline. He ain't lie. He didn't tell the truth either. He really didn't make a point at all. He really didn't make a point at all. Yeah. No point at all. And just in general, not just in Kevin's case, but in general, man, we got to do better. Twice divorced? Okay. And I'm sure that was both. No, let me not say that. Jared, let me say this. based on what I hear him say, I assume, and this is purely an assumption, I assume that in his mind, that was all their fault. He's done nothing wrong. They didn't know how to be in their place. They was wrong. They thought wrong. They did everything wrong. And again, this is purely based on what I've heard him say. Right? Okay. That was absolute garbage. And I appreciate y'all for sitting through that with me. That was absolute trash. Absolute trash. It was narcissistic as fuck. And if the goal is to fix a thing, then we've got to be way more objective than that. Right? I got to take my point out and be objective if the goal is to fix a thing. If the goal is just to tell who did what wrong, then yeah, build your case. Hey, you did this wrong. I don't think that was right. When you did this, it looked wrong and that was crazy. Okay. But if the goal is to fix it, then we got to be objective. We got to look at the whole thing. Stephen, I would totally talk to Kevin Samuels. If anybody could set that up for me, I would absolutely love it. I would absolutely love it. Because I'm not as easily swayed as some folk. I'm a skeptic in its purest sense. And he would tell me the same thing Tyrell told me. He would tell me, "Oh, you thinking too deep about it." I wouldn't mind it at all. Because I stick to the point. I don't care about all that. That's a whole bunch of rah-rah. And he specializes in said rah-rah. And he wouldn't do nothing but hang up on me. Yeah. It's folk right now that don't like that. I try to invite folk on this platform all the time to talk to them about. You're right, Matthew. You did, and I appreciate you for it. Right? He taught me to be a skeptic, and I appreciate that. Yeah, but I'm definitely a skeptic in its purest sense now, right? And I don't get caught up in the rah-rah like that. He just hang up on me because I don't care about all that. All that shit you talking is irrelevant to me. You know, if the goal is to fix the problem, then we got to be objective about the issue. Yeah, you got to be objective about the. He's a runner. He's a track star. I already know that nigga. That nigga would get gone. I already know it. Because all that other, that's irrelevant, Kevin. Yeah, that's irrelevant, Kevin. What's relevant here is, do you want to fix the problem or not? Is this even a problem? Is the first thing. So y'all not getting married. Who the fuck cares? That's issue one. Who the fuck cares about that? Right. Now, if you'd like to get married, then do you think that you should have to just subject yourself to some duty? Or is marriage a principle of joy to you? Right. If it's a principle of duty, then perhaps he has a point. But if it's a principle of joy, if it is not a principle of necessity, but a principle of sharing life and enjoying it, then that's different. Anywho's and how, man, I'm out the way. Hey, y'all follow me. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. I'm about to stop really doing a whole bunch of this shit on Facebook because Instagram will pay you to do this shit. Instagram will pay you to make live videos. I didn't know that. They will literally cut you a check to do that. You can't do that on here. So that way I ain't got to ask y'all for no money. I can just get on Instagram, and Instagram will pay me to create. So y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. Sebastian Cole, all one word. I got a couple Black Guru things on there. I got a few little things on there. So y'all make sure y'all follow me. I'm probably gonna get ready to move most of this to Instagram. Yeah, like they got this little badges thing where people can like tip you. That's one thing. But if you meet certain criteria, they will literally cut you $100 check. Yeah. Yeah. And follow me on YouTube. Respectfully Disagree is a page, and then Black Guru is also a page. But make sure you follow me on Instagram. Right now, I'm pushing Instagram. On YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the likes, share the videos. I know y'all don't like to share videos, but share the videos. You know, just try to do my little ting without having to ask y'all for money, because I don't want to ask y'all for $1. I told y'all about them situations. So anyway, I love y'all to pieces, man. It's good to see you as always. I'm out the way.